This is KGW News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Brittany Falkers. Fears of a large-scale violent clash between far-right and far-left groups failed to materialize in downtown today. Instead, the groups faced off on the east side of the city with some acts of violence and property damage. Kyle Aboshi was out today tracking it all and says it was a typical day in the city for most people who live here.
In downtown Portland, fears of a violent political clash became a waiting game. Hundreds of black-clad anti-fascists stood around Tom McCall Waterfront Park to counter-protest against a planned far-right rally. Instead, a group of right-wing Proud Boys changed plans and gathered nearly 10 miles away at an abandoned Kmart parking lot at 122nd and Sandy. Local leaders feared the rival groups would turn violent after a similar clash exactly 1 year ago. In anticipation, some downtown businesses closed for the day, but others remained open and were busy with customers who were not distracted by the large crowds assembling blocks away.
I think a lot of the time it can come off as very performative.
Customers like Reese McAndrew explained rallies between opposing groups have little impact on most Portlanders.
If you go there with the purpose to rile up other people, then you're going to get riled up. But if you go there just to see or just to walk around or like we're doing just to have food downtown, then I don't think you're going to have a problem.
The city is not on fire. Portland is still here. It's still beautiful.
Throughout downtown Portland, many streets were busy with tourists and even locals like Rod Purdom and his wife, who were out for a Sunday walk.
The city has so many problems, but it's not the war zone that so many people make it out to be. And that's really disappointing when you hear people that and you're trying to talk to people that from out of town and explain this is not the way it really is. Or people from the suburbs and you're trying to explain that's not the way it is. Come downtown and see.
In preparation for any possible violence, Portland police called in all available police personnel, although officers remained largely out of sight and didn't intervene.
And Kyle, we did see some small skirmishes today, late in the day, protesters clashing in Northeast Portland.
Right, exactly. We saw some minor skirmishes near that Proud Boy rally in Northeast Portland. A van drove into the parking lot and was later overturned, and both sides clashed briefly at a high school nearby. But really important to note, these were relatively small incidents, nowhere near the large-scale political violence that some had feared. Instead, for the most part, both groups, far left and far right, were separated and avoided conflict.
Important to keep that in mind. All right, Kyle, thank you. And before this weekend, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler was part of a press conference asking people to choose love over hate and to keep the violence away from the city. The mayor has been silent on Twitter since Friday. We've also reached out to his office for a comment, but have not heard back yet. While the relatively small clashes happened out in Northeast Portland, shots were fired in downtown Portland. This happened around 5:45 near Southwest 2nd and Yamhill. A 65-year-old from Gresham was arrested for the shooting. At least one local business was struck, but police say no one was reported injured. Police tell us they have no information at this time if the shooter was involved in or inspired by today's events, but it's still early on in the investigation. Police say there are reports that witnesses may have taken evidence from the scene before police arrived. If anyone was a victim or has information about this, you're asked to call police. Now to a story of a deadly shooting in Old Town early this morning. Officers were flagged down by someone just before 2 in the morning and were told someone was shot inside a bar in the area. Paramedics were called to try and save the victim. Unfortunately, the person passed before making it to the hospital. Police are asking for your help. They say the suspect or suspects left before police were even notified about the shooting, so anyone with information should contact Portland Police. And Vancouver police are also trying to solve a deadly shooting. Officers were called to Northeast 138th Street and 28th Avenue just after 6 last night. When they arrived, they attempted to save the victim. But when the fire department arrived, they declared them dead at the scene. Police do not believe there is a threat to the public. Anyone with information should call the Vancouver Police tip line. Vaccination rates are starting to tick up across the country as the Delta variant wreaks havoc. And an announcement expected tomorrow could cause those vaccination numbers to increase even more. Yesterday, for the third consecutive day, more than 1 million doses were administered. That hasn't happened since the first week of July. Tomorrow, though, the FDA is expected to give full use authorization for the Pfizer vaccine. The National Institute of Health says that green light will hopefully remove or reduce the hesitancy to get a shot. Experts also believe that when the Pfizer vaccine is fully approved, more businesses will likely issue vaccine mandates to help stop the Delta variant from throwing off the U.S.'s reopening. Starting tomorrow, people living in or visiting Washington are going to need to start masking up again. Face coverings will be required in all indoor public settings for everyone over the age of 5. That includes people who are vaccinated and those who aren't. Some restaurant owners are frustrated about the backward steps in the reopening process, but at least one says they'll comply with the new rules.
Nobody wants to do it. Customers don't want to wear them. We working in restaurants, we don't want to wear them. It's uncomfortable for everybody. So, but it's something we have to do.
The governor's office says it is working with state partners to reestablish an enforcement system. Now, with the mask mandate being put back in place, at least one pharmacist is wondering what impact it will have on the vaccination effort in the state. Kirk's Pharmacy serves rural parts of Pierce County, south of Seattle. Back in May, it led the efforts to get 12 to 15-year-olds vaccinated. And since then, distribution rates have slowed from about 100 a day to 10. Pharmacist Andrew Hines thinks the mask mandate may generate interest in the vaccine for some who thought the pandemic was over.
Hopefully it's like riding a bike. You know, we all did it for so long, and we got a little bit of taste of what it was like without masks. But going into the fall and colder weather and more indoor things, it just probably makes sense, and so we'll just roll with the punches, I guess.
Vaccination rates in Pierce County may have slowed, but they haven't stopped by any means. Just last week, 10,000 people received one shot of the vaccine. The Delta variant, of course, has changed a lot in just a matter of weeks. So let's take a look back at the recent announcements mandating vaccines in Washington and Oregon. Okay, so earlier this month, Oregon Governor Kate Brown announced healthcare workers will need to be fully vaccinated against COVID or undergo weekly testing. That begins September 30th. Then just a few days ago, the governor announced a mandate for K through 12 school staff and volunteers. They have until October 18th or 6 weeks after the FDA gives full approval to a vaccine, whichever is later. Shortly after that, Multnomah County announced all employees will need to get the shot, but they did not give a deadline. Over in Washington, the state has imposed some of the strictest vaccine mandates in the U.S. Governor Jay Inslee announced all state employees, healthcare workers, K through 12 and higher education employees, and child care providers must get fully vaccinated or face losing their jobs. So far, the state is not allowing testing as an alternative due to the cost of tests. As required by law, there are some exemptions for things like religion or medical issues. A celebration fit for an Olympian today in downtown Vancouver. The city hosted a homecoming parade for Team USA's Jordan Chiles. Christelle Kumwe has our story.
We're here to see Jordan Chiles.
You know, she's a really big inspiration to all the gymnasts in Vancouver.
Micaiah and Macy were among hundreds who lined up along Main Street in downtown Vancouver Sunday afternoon to see hometown Olympian Jordan Chiles.
I mean, she's really an inspiration. We're really proud to see her, especially being someone from Vancouver.
Chiles was raised in Vancouver. She graduated from Prairie High School and trained at Nedonov Gymnastics in Vancouver. The gymnast helped Team USA win a silver medal at the Tokyo Olympics. Chiles returned home to the Northwest to a hero's welcome. Fans cheered as the Olympian made her way to City Hall, proudly wearing her medal for everyone to see.
I just want to say thank you to everybody. I know a lot of you love you too.
It's amazing. I wasn't expecting this many people on a Sunday to be here, but I really enjoyed it. It just makes me realize how much everybody truly supports me, and I just appreciate that so much.
The community support and pride was clear. Vancouver Mayor Anne McNerney Ogle presented Chiles with the key to the city.
This is a huge thing. I never thought in my life I would be getting the key to the city, ever.
Okay, there we go.
All right, girls. 1, 2, 3.
Childs also took pictures with fans and signed a lot of autographs. A gymnastic tour in September is up next for Childs.
And then after that, I go off to college in January, and then we'll see. I mean, 2024 is definitely something I've thought of, and we'll see how everything turns out.
Some young aspiring gymnasts practiced their moves at the event. Childs had a message for them.
I would always tell them, I go by my favorite quote. It's my quote: always believe in the power of your dreams, because your dreams are very, very powerful, and if you put your mind to them, they'll come true.
Advice from a hometown Olympian that may just inspire the next generation of gymnasts to believe in themselves and go for the gold. Christelle Kumwe, KGW News.